All right, what's up, people? This is going to be a very long video, which means it's probably going to be a very short video. Just a reminder, my sit down with Tom Leroy, as far as I know, will be happening this Sunday. And I don't know if it's going to be live streamed. It probably won't. It's probably going to have to go out through channels and shit like that. I'll leave it up to Tom and Darkful to decide that. What I want to talk about is the fact that, okay, this motherfucker that thought that I thought I was done with him, but he came out later and he said some extra shit after I gave him 24 hours. But what I want to do is I'm going to try to make this as simple as possible because it's really rather heady as a topic. But I think that when you really understand what's going on, you're really going to kind of it's going to snap through to you and you're going to be like, get it. So what I'm going to title this video is The Geometry of the Infinite. Because I think that's ultimately what's at issue. It's a geometrical situation. In that, in order to prove the diagonal argument, you have to assume that there is always going to be, if you go this way and you go this way, that there's always, it's going to be a grid that just goes like that. So you're assuming a square. That's the geometry of the infinite you're assuming. And you're saying that it's not a square. So this was his rebuttal to me. Is it? No, that's our entire point, that it's not a square. That when you get to Aleph 1, or technically it's, isn't it 2 to the power of Aleph 0? Isn't that the way it's normally done? Is that it's not a square. I get that, but it's never been a square. That's the entire point. So, like, for example, and this whole concept of one-to-one correspondence is wrapped up into that. So when Cantor uses one-to-one correspondence, that proof is assuming the square. That's my fucking problem, is that he uses one-to-one to establish cardinality, which is exactly why the CCH, the Cantor continuum hypothesis, which is that Aleph 1 equals 2 to the power of Aleph 0, cannot be proven. It's been proven to be unprovable because we're dealing with things that we don't fucking understand. An infinity of any type is ineffable. It's something that we can never understand. To think that you can find some kind of paradox in infinity. We've known this from antiquity. Like I told this motherfucker. There are just as many even numbers as there are odd numbers plus even numbers. Does that make sense? How does that work? Well, we're using the rigorous one-to-one. One-to-one assumes a square. That's my entire fucking point. If you use that as your fucking, if that's your yardstick, if that's your ruler, if that's how you measure things, you're already poisoning the fucking well. That was my entire fucking argument. You missed it. I'm so sorry you missed it. It was right there for you to grab, man. It was right there for you to grab. How can there be just as many? Look, if I try to put those in one-to-one, I'm going to be left with an extra infinity. So infinity equals 2 infinity. This is the nature of the paradox, man. Well, we settled that with one-to-one. Did you? One-to-one assumes a square. You're back to fucking step 0. And that's why my counter arguments that you never fucking rebutted, nigger, was that when you get into, once you admit that, once you give that first step to these motherfuckers, it's going to be superpowers. It's going to be Ramsey cardinals and Malo cardinals and all this other shit. Nobody knows where anything falls. Well, I think it might be up here. Or it might be up there. I don't know. Could Galactus beat Erisham the Judge? Or could he beat the Beyonder? Well, no, he couldn't beat the Beyonder, right? Because the Beyonder put him in Battle World, right? Who's faster, Superman or the Flash? Well, it's obviously the Flash, but of the Flashes, who's the fastest? Is Flash faster than Reverse Flash? It depends on the writers. It depends on what you assume. You're making assumptions. You're making silly fucking... You're saying, well, if I can... Dude, go and fucking look up. Go and Google this shit. Ramsey cardinal Ineffable cardinal. Right? I can give you plenty more. Malo cardinal. What is that other one again? Where it's like it's a partition cardinal? What are they doing? It's going to look like a lot of complicated shit. I'm going to tell you what, it's not complicated shit. It's people making up superpowers. It's like, who wins, Professor X or fucking Scarlet Witch? That's what it is. Just like religion. It's a fucking religion of these fucking people. There are no definitions because guess what? Step one, and this step one is where I told this motherfucker. Prove CCH or admit that it's unprovable. And that's when he got his panties in a bunch and called me a young earth creationist. Because I wouldn't go along with his fucking prophet, George Cantor. Get the fuck out of here, man. I know a lot more than you think I know, man. I know the fucking rabbit holes that this shit goes down. You're basically trying to... I don't even know what the fuck these transfinite idiots are trying to do. Well, I'm going to fucking decide that, like, I can create this partition off this wall, off this... Read how they fucking define shit. And then when you come back and argue with these motherfuckers and be like, well, it's just too complicated for you to understand because you're just dumb. And you didn't take a higher level course in math. Yeah, you're dumb, man. And you didn't take a higher course in superhero powers to understand that that's all you're fucking doing. You're literally making shit up. You're literally pulling shit out of your ass. It's like, let's say a man could run the speed of light, right? That's how this shit always starts. It always starts with some weird assumption. Well, let's say that we can create a K-wall on the set absolute value of V, and then we can raise that to the power of Aleph 0. Now all of a sudden we have a new cardinal. If you don't think that's what they're doing, dude, that's what they're doing. And muffins for faggots, or I'm sorry, muffins for all. Is it muffins for all? Muffins for muffins? He ain't watching my videos. He's too scared. He don't want no piece of this. It's like a motherfucker I ran off last night. He didn't want no fight. I squared up with him. He's trying to steal a lot of shit. I caught him in the vestibule. He ran off. Before I almost had him. He ran off. He got in the parking lot. He was like, I'll whoop your ass. I'm like, dude, nigga, I'm right here. What's up? I already squared up on you and you ran away. He got in his car and he dipped out. And I was by myself. I was one dude. I got no problem fucking with people, man. Mentally, physically, spiritually, what the fuck ever. You need to answer that question. Question I pose to you, muffins. What an appropriate name, dude. What an appropriate name. Trying to pretend I'm a young earth creationist is the last thing I fucking am, dude. I know how old the earth is. It's 4.4 billion years old. Carry the 1, 4.5, whatever the fuck you want to call it. 4.46, whatever the fuck you want to call it. I don't got no dogs in that race, just like I don't have dogs in this race, but you do. You have a geometrical understanding of infinity that just doesn't make any fucking sense to me. Makes absolutely no sense to me. Just the same as the question infinity plus infinity makes no sense to me. Or half of infinity. There are no species of infinity. That's always been my argument. There are no species of infinity. Infinity is a concept that defies human understanding. It means without limits. It means without... You can't fucking... You start doing shit like that, you're going to get weird fucking results that make no fucking sense. And let me tell you something, you stupid fuck, have no practical applications. And I don't care what Diane Vera says. It has no practical applications. None whatsoever. Because we live in a finite world. I hate to break it to you. Infinity is an abstraction. It always has been, it always will be. Infinity is an abstraction. When you start dealing with abstractions of that nature, you get lost in knots of fucking ridiculousness. To the point where you start fucking creating superpowers out of nothing. I'll leave it at that. 10 minutes.